Alright, Butts, I'm ready to record when you are. Butts? Butts? Oh no. I'm alone. It's Riff Arcade! I'm Josh, and welcome to a very special episode of Riff Arcade. So let me go ahead and preface this by saying this is going to be kind of a podcasty episode again. I guess you could say this is kind of our second podcast episode. So I'm playing Super Mario 64, but I'm not going to be responding to that so much. I'm not going to be trying to accomplish anything in particular. As you can see, I already have all 120 stars on this save. So it's really just going to be me just kind of running around while I talk to you guys at home. Because, first off, let me explain why I'm solo. Well, let me put it this way. I'm definitely not doing a solo episode because Butts and I had conflicting schedules and we ran out of videos for today and something had to be recorded. That's not it. That's not why I'm doing this episode today. Anyway, moving on. So what I wanted to do in this episode, the scope of this episode is going to be very interesting to you all, I hope. It's very interesting to me because it's the story of why Riff Arcade? Why, Josh Bailey, did you sit down one day and say, I want to start a Let's Play channel where I play video games and stream and hang out with my friend Butts and make jokes? Why? Well, I'll tell you. And for the sake of this episode, it's going to be kind of a long story. I'm going to go way back. I was born in North Carolina. I'm kidding. We're not going back far. Back that far. So, the day after I was born, I'm pretty sure my parents already had a ColecoVision. And that was my very first gaming system. But I guess what I'm saying is I'll tell the story to start of why I started playing video games at all. And if you guys have watched this channel for some time, you've seen Butts and I released a couple of episodes of us playing the original Super Mario Brothers. And in that episode, we kind of went into more detail about just our history of video gaming, period. So if you want to get more of that sort of in depth, go watch those videos. They're really good. They were really fun to make. But the short of it is, yes, my parents had that ColecoVision as far as I know. I don't know when they got it. Just since my brain was activated, they've had a ColecoVision that I played. And then I got an NES when I was 5 in the beautiful year of 1990. It was a good year. Early 90s, good year. Some good songs came out. Also during this episode, I'm going to be taking some delightful swigs of water, which isn't something I usually do in our regular episodes, but since I'm going to be doing all of the talking, and since this is kind of going to be some close, sensitive material, I'll be drinking. I'll be heavily drinking this episode. So be ready for that. So when you're 5, when it's 1990 and you're 5, video games don't need much of a draw. Your little 5-year-old brain and your little 5-year-old eyes are already just attuned, just drawn towards that screen and those bright colors. And so there's not much of a why video games in that sense, I don't suppose. But that all changed because after that, in the year, I forgot the year, but shortly after that, I think just a couple of years after that, my family moved to a new town, and that was fine and dandy, but the problem for me was, I was losing all of my friends, and when you're in second grade or first grade and you start all over again from the friends you made in kindergarten, it's weird. Let me put it this way. I've always been a shy kid. I've always been introverted. I've always been really shy, so I've always, all my life, had a hard time just approaching people and being like, hey, let's hang out, let's talk. Like, that's always been not my go-to, my MO, if you will, my modus operandi. So when everything started over, when my parents moved and I went into second grade completely fresh, that was difficult in and of itself. But B, what made it even harder was the fact that I looked like this. Yes, that was me as a kid. I don't know what year that was taken, but that was me as a youngling. And I'm not saying that that's a bad look. I'm not saying that if you look like that, you should feel bad. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is just that when you're in second grade and you're dealing with a bunch of other thicker, bullier second graders who are working through some crap of their own, that face is much more punchable. So that's what I was dealing with going into second grade. And I actually became subjected to a lot of bullying. Not so much physical bullying, thank God. I consider myself very lucky that I wasn't subjected to more physical bullying as a child, although it was there. But no, what I dealt with more than anything was just verbal bullying. And I mean, like throughout elementary school and middle school, it was daily. Like, you know, kids calling me this, calling me that, making fun of the way I looked, pulling my pants down at gym class. And I mean, like, haha, I get it. Like, it's fine having your fun, but the other guy's got to be having fun too. Like, that's the bottom line. So I mean, it was just years of that, and what that does to your psyche in your formative years. I mean, thank goodness I count my lucky stars that I came out fine for the most part. I'm still very shy, and I still have a problem with certain people, but the reason I realize this sounds a little off topic, but I say all that to say it was at that point that video games weren't just for fun. At that point, they had also become an escape. So now, not only is Zelda: A Link to the Past just fun to play, but now also being able to step in Link's shoes and into the world of Hyrule is now something I'm seeking to escape my school life. And luckily, I had a very good home life. So, I mean, my family was great. They've always been very loving to me, always, throughout my entire life. So thank goodness I had a good home to come to, and those video games to escape with. And I know a lot of people didn't have that, and so yeah. So let's see what's next on I have my post-it note checklist here of the story of Riff Arcade. I told you, you guys didn't think it was gonna go this route, but I'm telling you, man. Let's see, let me exit the course. Boom. Okay, so yeah, we had moved to that town, and I was there until 9th grade. And at 9th grade, I got what at the time was some of the best news of my life. And that was that my family was moving back to, get this, the original town that we had moved away from way back when I was a younger kid. So my mind was ecstatic. I was thrilled. But I was also scared because now like, I get another do-over. I get to start completely over and fresh. And does that just mean I'm gonna find a whole new set of bullies? Like, or am I gonna grab life by the balls and try to make something better of myself and try to prevent it from ever happening again? Went with option B. Option B was a good option. So what I did was I got contacts. That summer between school years, I switched to contacts, got rid of the glasses, and just kind of like got some, and some of you will know what I'm talking about here and some of you won't, but I kind of just gave myself some fake confidence. So like, I strolled into this new school just kind of pretending to be cooler than I was, which, to be honest, worked. It's not my strongest suggestion for those of you that are victims of bullying, but it worked for me. And that being said, I also wanted to say to anyone who is currently in school or any young children watching this that are being bullied, I just want to say, in the early 90s, it was kind of tough luck. It was kind of tough love, even. It was a lot of like, oh, boys will be boys, and, oh, they're just ignore them, and they'll go away. And, yeah, they went away after I physically moved away from them. But it's 2021 now, so if you're being bullied, it's considered more of a problem these days, and you can get help. The one message I have for you is you're not alone. There are options. There are options online. You can talk to an adult, try to find a teacher, a parent, somebody with a little bit of empathy, and don't fight it alone, because that's more or less what I feel like I did for some 7-8 years, and it wasn't solved until I was just physically removed from the situation. So definitely seek something. I wish I had more information. If someone watching this video has more information for me to give people about bullying, please put that in the comments. I'm more than happy to get those resources for myself and help other people. Which I'm going to circle back around to. Josh, you sure did talk a lot about bullying and not a lot about Riff Arcade. Okay, yes. But I'm going to circle back around to it. It's coming back. So what happened was in 9th grade, yes, as I said, we moved back to my original town that I was in before. And I reinvented myself. And one of the ways I reinvented myself was one thing that always kind of got me through killer piano. Not the killer piano. That's not what got me through. That's horrifying. This is a physical representation of the bullying in my life. Sorry. For those of you, I said this was going to be podcasty. So for those of you just listening to the audio, I'm in the ghost level of Super Mario 64, and I encountered the ghost piano. And one way I decided to reinvent myself was with comedy. In the early 90s, we had access to some great comedy. We had access to some great TV shows, cartoons. I watched a lot of like Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs, and even around the time we were moving, even Comedy Central at this point was really going into a stand-up comedy sort of revival. There was sort of this stand-up comedy revival in the late 90s. So you had shows on Comedy Central like Comedy Central Presents and Premium Blend and several other just specials that came out. And I was always really drawn to those. That was one of the things that I've just always thought in my life, even ever since I saw them. I've just thought, like, I can do that. Like, I can write jokes that are this funny. And so that's something I've just always had lingering in the back of my mind for the longest time. You had the great, like, my brother could name them all, but even the Comedy Central Presents, we had like Sean Cullen and Pablo Francisco and Dave Attell and just all these greats of Comedy Central, Comedy Central Presents. And one particular night I remember very well, very vividly, was I remember I had another TV set up on a desk. I was in my room, and Dennis Leary's "No Cure for Cancer" came on. His song "I'm an Asshole" came on and started playing through the room, and it was one of the first times I had ever seen it. So I was sitting down and I was watching it on one screen on my TV stand. On my desk, I had another TV, and it had an NES plugged in, and I was playing an NES version of Monopoly, the board game. I was just playing against the computer. And I had a Sprite in my hand, like an ice-cold Sprite. Not 7-Up, I know, but I don't know why that Sprite just sticks in my head. So there I am. I've got Dennis Leary's "No Cure for Cancer." I've got NES Monopoly, and I've got a Sprite in my hand. And I just remember thinking to myself, this is an amazing way to spend a night. Like, it was incredible. It was one of the best, probably 2 hours of my life. I still remember it to this day, like I said. And some of you can see where I'm going with this. Some of you are like, I'm seeing some Riff Arcade pieces starting to come together, and you are absolutely right. It was about this time, early 2000s now, like late high school. I'm getting ready to go to college, and maybe even a little after college. I don't remember exactly when it started, but Let's Plays and YouTube, basically the advent of Let's Plays began to happen. So we started seeing, I'd get on YouTube and I'd start seeing these people play video games, make jokes, have a good time, do more or less exactly that wonderful night with Dennis Leary and NES Monopoly. Just comedy and video games married together in just an amalgamation of glory. So, of course, I did the only obvious thing. Nothing. I did absolutely nothing. I went to college to get a real job and a real diploma, which I am enjoying now. Okay, sure. But sure, Mom, I guess it worked out. So I don't know. I don't know if it was just I just didn't have the confidence, or I just didn't have the initiative, or I can hear one up. There we go. Or I just didn't have the equipment, which is true. I mean, at that time, like camera equipment and like capture cards were hardly a thing back then. So it would have been much harder to get the Super Mario 64 on a computer back in the early 2000s. But yeah, so for some reason or another, I just kind of twiddled my thumbs on it, which I kind of kick myself for now, because now obviously the market is saturated. I know I came in at a very saturated time with Riff Arcade, but well, I'm here now, and I'm enjoying it, so whoop. All right, there we go. But college came, college went, diplomacy happened. By diplomacy, I mean I got a diploma. I don't know why I said diplomacy. But I also never really watched Let's Plays. I never really watched any of them. Okay, I will say this. One of the main reasons I didn't watch Let's Plays is because I always thought I can just play video games. I don't need to watch other people play video games. I'd rather just play them like I am now. And not watch other people. And then the same goes, I think, for just why I didn't start a channel, is I was just like, I'll just play video games. I don't really have as much of an interest to to do all that when I can also just play and have fun. But what happened was I got a job again after the diplomacy happened. I got a job with that degree, And what happened was, now I'm sitting at a desk, I can't be working 24/7. Oh, jeez, that guy's not going in the lava. Sorry, I can't be working all day. Not all jobs have you working every moment of the day, and this particular job was a desk job, which meant I would finish my work early, and then I'd just have some extra time at my desk. So now I'm finally in a place where I want to play video games, but can't. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Okay, sorry. I know I said I wouldn't react to games, but here we are. That's when I started discovering, I think the first one I discovered was JonTron. From JonTron, I discovered PewDiePie, which is, I know, not the direction you thought I was going to go in, but I think the first kind of Let's Play-ish video I ever watched was JonTron's Pokemon bootlegs video, which was really funny. And I just kind of went to PewDiePie, which was good because PewDiePie is like the textbook Let's Player, right? He's just kind of like the guy who wrote the formula, more or less. And so from there, everyone in the comments on the PewDiePie videos were like, this guy sucks, you should watch Game Grumps. And so that's when I started watching Game Grumps, which I caught because JonTron was also in that. So, oh no, oh no, whoop, oh, dang it, okay. I died on the camera in a very horrifying way right next to the Power Star. But, so I started watching Game Grumps, starring Aaron and JonTron. That eventually became Aaron and Dan. As I watched it, I watched them all chronologically because I became a big fan. And I learned about Dan and how he went to the Upright Citizens Brigade School in New York. And that's always something that's interested me too, is like actually going to an improv school. That's something I've always really wanted to do, but something else that I've just never really gotten to for one reason or another. And so I haven't, but that really interested me. So that's when sort of my comedy side and my video game side just really kind of started to come together, and I thought, maybe I can do this. Like, maybe this is something I can do. I can kind of research improv a little bit, learn some things, while at the same time playing some of my favorite games. Because another thing to you, one thing I'd like to say to you aspiring Let's Players out there is do it because you love it. Don't do it for views. Don't do it and just like play the games you think people want to see. Like, yeah, that'll get you views, but you'll also burn out and you won't enjoy yourself. And after a year or two, you'll probably stop doing it. So, obviously my formula is I play games I like with people I like. Hello, Butts. We miss you. And I could see myself doing Riff Arcade for the unforeseeable future. I mean, I just like doing this. So there it was. So Game Grumps was my inspiration. And I said that because they weren't my final motivation. Everything I do, everything you see on this channel is more or less inspired by the Game Grumps. But I didn't get my proper motivation until a couple years ago. My wife and I were on a Disney cruise line. And on Disney cruise lines and other cruise lines, I think, they seat you with people that are roughly your age and roughly like you. So, like, I guess in our case, it was like people who didn't have kids and were about our age. And we're going around the table like, oh, I'm Josh. What's your name? Oh, I'm Paige. I'm Erwin. What do you do? Oh, I do this. I do that. Cool. We get to the next girl. Hi, I'm Danielle. Oh, cool. What do you do? I am a professional Let's Player. And I was like, what? What now? Hang on. I derailed the conversation. I was like, okay, you're all done talking. I'm talking to you now about Let's Plays. No, I wasn't that much of a jerk, but I almost was. Just about. It was more or less that. So her name was Danielle. Some of you know her better as Panzer, and some of you know her better as Trade Chat. So that was my motivation. That was like, here I am actually talking one-on-one, having this one-on-one conversation. I'm asking her all these questions about being a Let's Player, what it's like, what's, are you going crazy about staying relevant? What kind of games do you play? What's your setup? What's your room look like? What's your background look like? Just all of these questions. Just finally, just kind of meeting someone in the field. I mean, it was essentially, the perfect motivation, because after that trip, I got home and I thought to myself, okay, so she just one day in her room started making World of Warcraft videos. One of them went viral one day, and boom, next thing you know, she's got 500,000 followers on YouTube. And not saying, let me stop you right there. I'm not saying, not pretentiously saying like, I could do that. That's not what I'm saying. I just mean like, if getting started is that easy, like, what am I waiting for? I'm there. I love games. I love comedy. I can do this. I've now seen Let's Plays. I've now watched the Game Grumps. I have a great foundation to learn and pull from. I've now got a personal connection with someone that I can talk to and ask questions. This is it. The iron is as hot as it's going to get. It's time to start a Let's Play channel. So, like, that was it. That was the start of the idea that became Riff Arcade. Boom. So, but we're not quite there yet, because now I've got the idea of Riff Arcade in my head, which is not yet called Riff Arcade. It's just, Joshy, you want to start a Let's Play channel. How do we get from there to Riff Arcade? So, I thought about the games I wanted to play first off, and that was kind of a no-brainer. I love retro games. NES, Super Nintendo, N64, Super Mario 64, PlayStation, like, just the retro angle of video gaming. So that's more or less my era, but of course, we play everything on Riff Arcade as long as Butts or I enjoy it. Again, you have to enjoy it to have a proper Let's Play channel, I feel. Speaking of Butts, obviously the Game Grumps are a duo, and it would be very daunting to just come swinging out the gates by myself and just being like, hi, I'm Josh, welcome to the first episode. No, I needed a partner in crime. So I contacted my best friend since college, met him in college. We briefly talked about that during a Super Metroid episode. And there is a whole other crazy story that goes with how Butts and I became absolute besties. But that is a crazy story that is beyond the scope of this episode, so that will come later. If at all, if Butts is okay with it. Yeah, so I contacted Butts. It was a no-brainer. For one thing, if you've ever heard us have a conversation, those lucky few of you that have ever just heard Butts and I have a conversation, even just outside of the scope of doing a Let's Play episode or stream, y'all, we're hilarious. Like, it's just constant laughs. There was one time where Butts and his friend Carrie just had like an hour-long conversation about Dr. Doom, and I was laughing constantly for an hour. It was like my face wanted to fall off. It was so funny by the end of it. And so yeah, I called Butts up and I was like, hey, you want to do a Let's Play channel? And Butts, bless his heart, without hesitation, was just like, yes. I want in. I want in on that. Yes, please, check the box. And so So we did some tests. I bought some gear. Laid down, yeah, like I said, laid down some test episodes, tried out some bits. Everything was going well, so we just started recording. We just started going, and during all this, sort of the silent partner of Riff Arcade is our good friend Robert Connor, who's been on several of our streams, several of our streams, and is currently working on a comic book, A Radiant Collapse. You'll see the ad for it at the end of this video. The three of us were talking, and we just started like shooting some names out. What are we going to call this channel? So just boom, boom, boom. Long story short, there's not too much of a story behind Riff Arcade, the title itself, but the short of it is, Butts and I were in a band together, and to do improv comedy and to make fun of something, like on Mystery Science Theater 3000, is to riff on something. It's a comedy term. If you're making fun of something, you're riffing on it. So not only is Riff Arcade a guitar riff reference, it's also an improv riff reference, and the arcade is obvious. We play various games of all types and charges. So that's it. That's Riff Arcade. Also, it just rolls off the tongue. It's got a delightful little Riff Arcade. The F and the A sort of go into like a fart, so it's like Riff Arcade, if you will. Am I right? Riff Arcade. Am I right? Oh, I haven't got here yet. And I think another reason I'm going to go back. I said I would come back around to the bullying and sort of the childhood stuff. And so here it is. I won't do the bullying quite yet, but I'll say another reason I'm just really drawn to the 90s. Like you've noticed, our logo is very early 90s. The background with the shapes. It's very Saved by the Bell / sticky floor of an actual arcade pattern, right? So, obviously, it's not just 90s games, but it's kind of 90s culture as well. And I think a lot of that is just sort of recapturing that childhood. It's just sort of going back to the start of it, sort of the start of where video gaming started for me. And even just, I mean, you know, I'm an adult now, and those of you that are my age, you know that there was just something special about being a kid. Just no responsibilities. You just enjoy life. Everything is more fresh. Everything is more new. A lot of those things in the early 90s were some of my earliest memories. So it's a way to just break open that nostalgia bubble and just kind of re-experience a time that's now past. And part of it is I want to share that with all of you, like all those of you that are our age. Like I want to bring that to you. I want you to sort of watch our channel and just sort of be like, yeah, I miss this. This is good, and I miss this, and you're bringing it back, and it's warm, and it's fuzzy, and I like the way it feels. And whoa, okay. And also, now going back to the bullying is another reason I wanted to do this channel is just to put more positive energy out there into a world that needs more positive energy in it. And so for you kids out there, and gosh, even adults, like if you're out there being bullied, I want you to use this channel as an escape in the way that video games was an escape for me way back then. I want that for you, just like I had it for myself. And even to the aspiring comedians out there. Not that we're as textbook comedian as I'd like to be, but for those of you out there that are watching us for inspiration and motivation, the way I looked up to Game Grumps and Trade Chat, I want to be that for you as well. So yeah, so that's kind of the mission statement of Riff Arcade. I don't know how to sum that into a nice synergistic team building mission statement, but I guess the short of it is just to put positive energy into the world through nostalgia and humor. I guess that's kind of the mission statement of Riff Arcade. And if Butts and I can bring that to you by playing the games we love and just goofing off in the company of each other, then that to me is about as special as it gets. And that is ultimately my dream for Riff Arcade. So there it is. Why Riff Arcade? That everything I just said. So yeah, I guess that's gonna be it for this episode of Riff Arcade. I really hope you enjoyed it. And again, if you know some good anti-bullying programs or web pages or things like that, please send that to me. Put it in the comments, message it to us, however you can. Yeah, man, Riff Raff, thanks for everything you've done. And if we've provided that positive energy for you, then that's the most wonderful thing that we can do. That you can let us know. So I guess all that's left to say is thanks for watching. We hope you'll keep watching, and keyboards go.